Hi everyone, it's Alexa. We're going to just talk about the week I had. Missed my Saturday video. Apologies for that. I was not feeling my best and my sleep schedule got all out of whack. And anyway, I'm here today feeling a lot better. My week started on last Thursday. The Northern Lights were seen as far south as Florida, I want to say. I saw photos from people there. Very heavily on the East Coast down to Florida, but then also the Midwest. And I have always wanted to see the Northern Lights. I still want to go to Iceland, other like Norway, Sweden, see if I can see them there too. But I decided to go out probably for the fourth or fifth time, just driving around at night, which is a very weird thing to do, but I did it. And I'm pretty sure now that I've seen this display that I was seeing them previously on another adventure, but they were so faint. They weren't as strong, so it was more of a white glow than the colors I saw this time. So northern lights, according to space.com, are created when energized particles from the sun slam into the Earth's upper atmosphere at speeds of up to 45 million miles per hour. And those energized particles are what can cause issues with like electronics and stuff like that. Energy is energy. It, can affect other energy as it slams into it and the energy transfers or whatever. So I went out and I was driving around. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. That might be the glow from like a little town up the road, whatever. And eventually, everywhere I kept passing little side roads where people were just parked. And at one point, I saw people and they had their phones out and they were looking. I was like, okay, it's up there. They're taking pictures. I know it's up there. I've got to find a place to pull off and I've got to go just find these. And even before I got to where I ended up parking, a little gravel road, I started seeing this green and pink tint. And I was like, is that it? That's got to be it, right? Like that's got to be it. And then I was like, oh, well, there's that little town in front of me, so maybe it's from there. Maybe there's something there. And so I was like, okay, well, let's just go. I think I ended up going east away from that town down a road, and there was a gravel road, and I was like, oh, I'm going to park here. I ended up on this gravel road at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. It was really cold out, but I didn't really care. And sort of laughing and sort of dancing. It was so beautiful to watch. I would love to see them again in person in the future. And that sort of set me up to have a very late night. I was so energized. I was so excited. I got to see them finally. And I mean, I know many other people saw them as well, but they were just spectacular to look at. So that kind of set me up to have, I think I also maybe got a stomach bug or something and just didn't feel well. So didn't really sleep very well Thursday night, Friday night, ended up sleeping half the day Saturday, just had a headache and felt maybe it was the electric charge particles from the sun giving me a headache. You never know, right? I don't know. But definitely sat here Saturday evening sort of going, well, you could do a video. You're just sitting here. But then I really didn't know what I could talk about and actually sort of coherently put a video together on them. So I decided to take the night off to be kind to myself, to give myself a little time. And yeah, it was well enjoyed to have that time and not the pressure that I put on myself to do stuff. So Monday, I actually ended up taking the day off work. My sleep was off. I had a headache because of it. I slept most of the day. And then I was reading about the comet that is currently visible, and I'm going to have to look at the name. I think they're just calling it A3, but it has a long name. It is, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this. Comet Tsuchinshan Atlas. I hope I've said that. Tsuchinshan. Commonly known as A3. This is visible in the west. I'm going to leave a link to to weather.com that kind of tells you how to go see it. So I went out Monday night. It said your best viewing time is about 40 minutes after sun goes below the horizon. So I went out just about when the sun was setting. And I'm out there. There were so many plane trails in the sky. It was just, I didn't really know what I was looking for I think I came home a little bit too early. So I ended up going out again last night, and the moon is full tonight. So it was really almost full yesterday. And I went out, I left here a little before 6, and the sun sets a little after 6:20, I think, something like that. I drove out of this, I live in a little city, so I drove out of the city. I took my camera that I have. It does not do well in the dark. I don't know. I think I need to figure out the setting. I'm guessing it's something to do with like the aperture or something. But it doesn't have the HDR setting that a lot of phones have. So I did get some pictures of the Northern Lights on my cell phone. I was surprised, but literally you have to have the lights turned off to really, like, they're just so dark. So to be able to see them, I don't have an iPhone. They're not coming out that vivid, beautiful color that a lot of the pictures, if you've been on social media, that people have been posting from their iPhones. I don't think the camera has that kind of setting, so I need to figure out what that is. But once it got dark enough to see the comet, it was too dark for the camera to take a picture of it. So I was like, well, I've still seen it. I stayed out longer, and I was taking pictures of other stuff. The camera that I have took some of the most clear pictures of the moon that, I mean, not joking. I was shocked by how clear these pictures are. And then I was at a little lake, so I was like kind of taking pictures of like the reflections while we were waiting for the sun to truly go down and the actual dusk to fully fall. And just as I was getting absolutely beyond freezing and ready to leave, I was like, there's like a line in the right spot, diagonally the right way. So it goes from like the top left to the bottom right, sort of in a diagonal. I knew I could see Venus. I knew I have a little app on my phone called, what's it called? Stellarium or something. It's it literally, as you move your phone around, it'll tell you what you're looking at. So I knew I was looking at Venus. I knew that this was sort of diagonally up from there, and it was coming across. And as I was getting ready to come home, because my fingers and toes were just absolutely painfully cold at this point, I didn't realize how cold it was going to get. I saw it and I was like, I think that's it. So I stopped my car. I sat there for another 5-10 minutes, and sure enough, just as it got a little bit darker, you could really see it. No good with binoculars. I knew it was in front of me and I couldn't focus on it but I have really cheap binoculars, so I probably need a better pair. And then, as I say, the camera just, at that point, the sky was too dark. It couldn't focus on this very pale comet. But what a flippin' week to see the Northern Lights, the moon almost full last night, to see the comet, which is not coming back for 80,000 years. So it's literally a once in a lifetime event. It is going to be visible for the next week or so, although it's moving away from the sun. So the further it gets from the sun, the paler it will be. For us, but less visible. So definitely try and get out there and see it. If you haven't, you're going to want to look to the west about 30-40 minutes after sunset in your location, and it's it's going to be above the horizon, but not a huge amount. You're not looking straight up. You're definitely sort of looking sort of slightly up from where you are. I think it's like many people, I'm very just fascinated with the beauty of what's above us, the stars and the planets that reflect light from our sun and other suns, and just how vast it is. And we are this tiny little thing on a tiny little dot moving through such a vast, enormous space, right? So, yeah, definitely some tough times this week, but definitely some highs as well. And I think some of my issues on the weekend might have been going from such a high from seeing the Northern Lights and being so excited by them. I find that when you have a high, you and this is not just true of me, but a lot of other people, when you have a high, then you have to come down and you kind of have a crash. And I think that sort of is what this weekend was. I was just sort of, oh, God. Don't know how else to put that into words, but it was one of those weekends I was a little extra kind to myself. And this video isn't much. I will leave a link to the Weather Channel for the comet, so more tips on how you can see it, and then a link to I want to say it's space.com, but the definition of the Northern Lights. I'll put that in the description as always, trying to give you sources to go and read more about stuff. If you made it this far, I do thank you. I will be back on Saturday, and in the meantime, be kind to yourself.